Three Voyager characters had identical doppelgangers in other Star Trek TV shows and movies. The Star Trek franchise, with its decades-long legacy, has occasionally leaned into the strange and delightful world of actor reuse, alternate timelines, and mysterious doppelgangers. Nowhere is this more apparent than with Star Trek Voyager, a show that ran from 1995 to 2001 and helped redefine 24th century Trek storytelling. Over the years, several Voyager cast members found themselves playing entirely different characters across the broader Star Trek universe, sometimes so visually and tonally similar, they felt like uncanny twins or mirror universe counterparts. Here are three Voyager characters who had near-identical doppelgangers in other Star Trek TV shows and movies, whether by design, happenstance, or sheer sci-fi weirdness. 1. The Dr. EMH and Dr. Zimmerman, played by Robert Picardo. The emergency medical hologram, usually referred to as simply the Doctor, is a fan-favorite character brought to life with dry wit and sharp intellect by Robert Picardo. But his character has an actual in-universe doppelganger, one that makes perfect sense. Picardo also played Dr. Louis Zimmerman, the cranky and eccentric Starfleet scientist who created the EMH program. Zimmerman appears in multiple episodes across Star Trek, Deep Space Nine and Voyager, and unlike most actor doubles in Star Trek, his physical resemblance to the EMH is canonical. The Doctor is based on Zimmerman, right down to his looks, mannerisms, and sardonic humor. But where the Doctor grows, evolves, and wrestles with personhood, Zimmerman remains stubborn, arrogant, and deeply uncomfortable with how the EMH surpasses him. Their scenes together, especially in Lifeline Voyager Season 6, offer both comedic sparks and philosophical introspection about legacy and identity. In a clever twist, Star Trek doesn't just acknowledge the resemblance, it builds it into the lore. These two characters are essentially mirror images of each other. One biological, the other photonic. They may be genetic and digital twins, but their lives diverge dramatically, making their interactions more than just a gimmick. They're a meaningful commentary on selfhood. 2. Tuvok and Other Vulcans, played by Tim Russ. Tim Russ is synonymous with Tuvok, Voyager's stoic Vulcan security officer. But Trek fans know he's had multiple appearances across the franchise before and after Voyager, often as different but nearly identical characters. Long before Tuvok debuted, Tim Russ played a background bridge officer in Star Trek Generations 1994, serving under Captain Harriman on the Enterprise B. Though unnamed in the film, Russ later confirmed the character wasn't Tuvok, even though he was clearly Vulcan and looked, well, exactly like Tuvok. Even earlier in Star Trek, The Next Generation Starship Mine, he played a human terrorist named Devore, and in Star Trek Deep Space Nine Invasive Procedures, he appeared as a Klingon mercenary named Takar. That's 3 different characters across 4 shows and 1 movie, yet the audience always sees Tim Russ's recognizable face. But perhaps the most notable doppelganger moment comes from Star Trek Picard Season 3, where Russ reprises his role as Tuvok, but in one twisty episode, he's replaced by a changeling imposter. The fake Tuvok is nearly perfect, until 7 of 9 tricks him into revealing his identity. In this eerie scene, Tuvok becomes his own distorted mirror image, a doppelganger born of deception and warfare. In a franchise that has often reused actors in different roles, Russ stands out as someone whose multiple appearances don't just feel like casting convenience, they add to the mythology. Vulcans may be logical and emotionless, but Russ's versions always come with a sly undercurrent of curiosity, no matter who he plays. 3. Tom Paris and Nick Locarno, played by Robert Duncan McNeill. This is one of the most notorious doppelganger cases in Star Trek history. Before Robert Duncan McNeill piloted the USS Voyager as Lieutenant Tom Paris, he portrayed Cadet Nick Locarno in the Star Trek The Next Generation episode, The First Duty. Locarno was a charismatic yet arrogant Starfleet Academy pilot who orchestrated a dangerous stunt that got a fellow cadet killed. He tried to cover it up, only to be caught by Wesley Crusher and forced to face the consequences. With